Okay, we just wrapped up this 2-day project for another tree outfit. Million stumps left over. Those are kind of difficult bob and weave, but they apparently wanted them tall for the contractor to rip them out with big excavator or something. I don't know. We might end up getting the job, pull those out and grinding them, but well, both these are here. Brought this just kind of as backup in case anything happened to this, but this wasn't the plan to have a brand new one of these here. So this is in fact a 2018 PrimeTech PT-175. It has the new updated mulcher head on it. And what that means, the updated, is it's got 2 rows of counter cutters back there. So you can see the gap. That's the layer of mulch that comes out. It's less than your finger. And it's got 2 of those. So when you open the hood, in my last video, you could see how much this thing throws. But it's real simple. You hit a button and you close the hood and it contains it awesomely. Now, it's running the double carbide. It's the same exact tooth that's on the TAKEUCHI. But this machine is dedicated. It's not cheap for what it is. It says 175 or PT-175, but it's got 165 max horsepower out of it, but it's dedicated. And with that dedication, I'll show you guys a video we took before we finished this job of what, you know, a universal machine with high flow capability has to offer compared to that. Now, this rig right here is about it's less than half the price. Look at the little Emma, quite a bit less than half the price. So so that machine there should be 2.5 times more efficient and more effective mulcher machine, and it is. So you can look here for the skid steer head. It's got 2 counter cutters as well, but they're not detachable. And same tooth. This one's got about a how many hours are on this thing? Probably about 250 hours on the head. The machine itself is another 2018 model as well. Global Machinery, bought this there, and this one, we got some good friends down there. But like Talk Shop, the real horsepower behind it, the hydraulic flow is something like 65 gallons a minute compared to 40, and that one maxes out like 3,300 psi, and this one goes up to 5,500 psi. Quite a bit difference in those pressures. When you hear the horsepower, which is 111 versus 165, that's not a big gain. It's got a 4-cylinder Cummins turbo diesel versus a 4-cylinder Kubota turbo diesel in that one. But you have to understand, when you're going 2 machines, one's aimed at mulching. That's what it does. This is like I wouldn't say an entry-level dedicated machine, but it's the first size that PrimeTech makes. Then they make them bigger and badder from here on out. But as a skid steer, I could throw a bucket on that, I could throw a grapple, I could throw a wood processor, throw a mulcher head on it. The list is endless. So I took a video before we finished, battling these 2 out head to head, and it's completely obvious which one is gonna prevail. So I'll go ahead and cut to that and then come back to right now. All right, here's the piles that we're gonna battle against. Haas is stretching, he's gonna need it. PrimeTech PT-175, and we're gonna verse it against the skid steer. TAKEUCHI TL-12, the R2 with the FAE head on it. But this is what we're gonna go against. Battlefield. That's 5-inch in diameter pine limbs. These aren't trees, these are limbs. So, just so you guys can see it before we start, here we go. Things to note about the PrimeTech: the visibility and out of the cockpit is something unreal as far as the visibleness of the mulcher head, because when you're sitting in there, that is pretty much the view you get. First-hand view right there. It's completely awesome. The controls, however, they're very sensitive, they're very smooth, but take a little bit to get used to. There's a roller rocker switch right here, so you roll it back all the way, just let it go, and that puts you into a real creep mode. So you let the stick, full stick, you're barely moving. So you roll it forward, tap in it, whatever you want to do. Gives you more speed. So when you're mulching into some thick stuff and you don't want to kind of bobble the stick back and forth, which you can't because it's so sensitive, you just roll that back, and that's a gear selector more or less. Heated seat. Obviously, every one of these has air conditioning. You have to have air conditioning on one of these. Both have backup cameras. This one has a reversible fan, so when it's a sucker, all the air is coming from the back. You can see stuff gets caught up in right here. The reversible fan, there's a bag, shoots all that stuff back out this way. Real slick, and most mulching machines, that is a standard option. But TAKEUCHI, all the air from this thing, it's a blower. It blows through the radiator, so all the air comes from up in here, sucks it down in there, and this thing, I'll tell you what, it moves the air, but both of them stay cool, and that is amazing. Out in 105-degree weather, these mulcher, you run them wide open. There's no real way around it. To get most power, you got to be wide open. So rev them up and let them eat. And TAKEUCHI, in my opinion, is one of the better skid steer views that I've personally seen. So normally you can't even see the head with other brands. Quite typically, this is set quite a bit higher. The width in between the loader arms is narrower, and over the side is a little bit more terrible. But as far as a skid steer, I actually really like this. The controls are pilot controls, which means this is actually controlling oil valves. So here comes Emma again. These things are very sensitive, but a lot more user-friendly compared to a PrimeTech. PrimeTech is manageable, obviously with some practice, but for first time jumping in, it turns into a bobblehead. But once you understand and can properly execute that roller rocker switch on the PrimeTech, she's slick. And I actually really like that machine. Both of these have very smooth controls, and people keep thinking that we're going to be buying the brand new PT-175. Well, there's a thing to be noted about this. If you're trying to get into the business, and let's say you have $250,000, you can buy one of these. Or if you want to buy 2.5 of those, or about 2 of those, for the same price as this, one thing to be noted is your transport. That thing is pretty easily transported behind a regular pickup, like a dually, preferably. If you're ballsy, you could do it with a single wheel, with a double tandem dually gooseneck trailer, however, losing my words. But a PrimeTech, the PT-175, that weighs 15,000. This weighs, the last model weighed 22,000. This one's got to weigh 23, maybe 23.5. So you really got to consider that. This is about the max that I would really prefer to haul behind my pickup. I have a Dodge 5500 with a 30K rated gooseneck trailer I tow, and that's a big deal hauling something like this. I feel comfortable hauling this weight with the setup I have. A lot of effort's gone into that setup to make it, comfortable to haul this, but this is about the max that I want to haul. So that is one thing to be said about this one. Dad does own a 2013 of this. Basic difference is the head is slightly different, the undercarriage is quite a bit lighter, and the hood over the engine bay is quite a bit beefier, but it still does weigh about 1,000, maybe 1,500 pounds less than this one. And it's a lot, that little bit of weight, you wouldn't think that would be that big a deal, but with that amount, it makes it a lot more comfortable to tow. But I'm gonna get this thing back to the house tonight. We got to tow up a steep hill, but I thought I would give a little quick overview on the two machines if people are looking into getting into the business. Look at those two pups over there, they're out prowling around. Poor pups. When we're running mulchers, they got to be tied up all day, so we let them run around. But anyway, well guys, oh brother, can you guys see this hill? This is the easy side of the hill. Probably the worst hill I've ever towed up. Took me about 10 minutes, 4-wheel low, half a mile. Yeah. The old Prime Tech, like I said, weighed about 22,000 pounds with the wider head on it. This machine weighs 18 something, little bit over 18,000 by itself, plus the attachment, which the little one weighs 3,000. So this one weighs 4,500, maybe. I don't know if it weighs an extra ton more, but it's heavy. I know the 080 has trouble picking up these heads, but man, the 08 did it. I put in a prayer before I hit the hill, four-wheel low, and there's a couple corners. If they would have been any tighter, it would have really sucked, but it started slipping just a little bit. They're getting just a little off camber, but we made it. We're gonna head home. That's stressful. And somebody texted me last night. He's got a 30K Texas Pride trailer just like mine, and he was saying, well, he goes as a dump trailer, but his name's Jeff out of Sacramento. He said his trailer, he had a couple welds break. So I looked this thing way over, being the fact that this cargo is $250,000, give or take, depending on your dealer and who you know and how many hours are on it. Don't quote me on that. Global kicked me in the head. Ballpark, $250,000. So I didn't see any cracks on mine, by the way. But let's get on back to the house. Oh man, hands aren't shaking that bad, but I was nervous. These 12.5 by 5 electric drum brakes are actually pretty good. So cool. Let's get on to the house. Holy crap. All right guys, we're down here at the shop, late night. Let's do my security run, make sure everything's been not disturbed. The mess is the same. Okay, we're good. Wrap this video up. Just rewatching on the footage as I was editing, and I wanted to make one thing, state something. The gussets for the cleats to dig into on my ramps on my trailer, they're taking a beating from that D3 undercarriage on that big new Prime Tech. So that's another thing to state. It's gonna be a brute to haul, gooseneck, whatever. And on the trailer subject, for my new one, it got delayed. It was supposed to have been built on the 22nd and shipped. That was the plan, but I was gonna go out there Saturday or Sunday and pick it up. I'm buying out Winnemucca. That's the place where I found the best deal. And just so you guys know, it's the trailer you're thinking of, but I'm not gonna broadcast their name. So I'm buying it because I believe it's something great, but at the same time, I've heard mixed reviews on people that have bought that trailer recently and are possibly getting rid of it, such as reasons of axle failure, axle seal failure, pins falling out, spread not correct, spread being 5 feet instead of 4 feet, stuff like that, and people want to get rid of it. So I'm a little nervous about the big investment I put down on a new trailer, which is now delayed. Anyway, I just wanted to point that out and talk a little bit more about the skid steer versus a dedicated machine. Yes, a skid steer has so many more options than a dedicated machine, but if you are aiming at getting mulching and land clearing done, you cannot beat dedicated. Rather, if it's a 6125 lamb track type real entry level, that it still has the option for a quick disconnect loader arm, but you don't have the lift. That's what a lot of people get real skeptical about on a dedicated machine. It doesn't lift as high. Prime Tech lifts really high. It lifts high enough as much as you need, but what I mean is a skid steer, it can cut the top of a tree off and then mow it down like a chipper. Once you have horsepower, you can just mow that thing off at the ground, and you don't really get the horsepower until you step into something dedicated. No matter, even if you're running a ASV, or I would really like to drive any other machines just to see and try them out on video so that you guys would know. I would love to. People mention a gyro track. We do have actually a gyro track GT-25. It needs a new liner on the mulcher head, and it's on the back burner big time. But GT16, somebody mentioned that. I would love, if somebody sent me out one of those, of course I'd make a video on it. And same thing with the new Lamtrack 6140. I would love to make a video on that, but until then, if you're wanting dedicated, you're going to get results. That is all I can say. Skid steer, you're going to get stuff done, but nowhere near as fast. And it's a lot easier to get involved buying a skid steer because they're so much cheaper than a dedicated machine. But I wanted to make more of a drone shot, but the GoPro was actually dying on the drone, so I lost my visual on my remote, so that's why I cut that one so short. But it is what it is. We made something happen out of it. And as for the old 9812 valve, I need to order some parts. That's all there is to it. I'm definitely going to use the transfer case that's out of the truck, or a different one, depending on if I get a heavy duty one. But I'm going to keep it so I can have the vacuum lines and everything the same. I just got to get new drive shafts made, and I believe I just got to shorten one of these 2 inches, one of the stock ones, and that should be fine, or I'll have one custom built. But order a clutch pedal and brake pedal, and a couple things like for around the stick shifter in the truck, and this will be good to go. But now that I don't have to go out to Winnemucca this weekend to pick up my new trailer, I shall be working on this today. But I wanted to weld the new ramps on my trailer tonight, but I ended up getting on the phone with an old friend, talking business ideas, really harping on the idea of getting employees to run all the equipment I have, and that's stressful stuff. So maybe later on down the road. But point being, that one phone call ate up the whole evening. But I wanted to make an official outro for you guys. The Prime Tech is back home, nice and safe. Friday we'll go down to Global and hopefully trade him for another tractor, one for the yard. Maybe, we'll see. I don't know. You see how plans don't work out sometimes. But anyway, catch you guys on the next one. Hit them buttons, like, comment, subscribe, and we will see you later. Don't forget to check out vbeltandson.com. Get yourself a V-Belt & Son hat. Got stickers, got keychains. I really need to get t-shirts, but there's a lot going on right now. Come wintertime, we still got jackets. But catch you guys later. Bye.